This is the Kitchen Sink WP Podcast, episode 286.
I program my own computer.
We have a server crash, 404 error, page not found, links aren't working. System is crashing, system is crashing, system is crashing.
Your old HTML website, barely alive. We have the technology. We have WordPress. A new website, better than it was before. Better, stronger, faster. We have the technology. The technology.
Why, hello, everybody. This is Adam Silver, the host of the Kitchen Sink WP Podcast. Thanks for being here. Let's get started. All right, upcoming events. We have a whole bunch of upcoming events next weekend and beyond. So first and foremost, WordCamp Minneapolis, Minnesota, August 22nd, 23rd, 24th. WordCamp Orlando, 23rd through 25th. WordCamp Ann Arbor, one of my favorite WordCamps of all time, August 24th and 25th, but I won't be there. I'll be out of town somewhere else. And then my kids start school like Monday the 26th. Anyway, sorry I won't be there, guys. To my friends Kyle and everyone there in the A2 area. WordCamp Olio, it's in the Philippines. Very cool website, by the way. It's August 24th, 25th. Check that out. It's over ILOILO. I'm pretty sure I pronounced that correctly. WordCamp Olio. WordCamp Omaha, 24th, 25th. WordCamp Brisbane, August 24th, 25th. And WordCamp Karachi, August 24th, a single-day camp. Also upcoming is, like I mentioned last week, but I didn't quite finish it, WordPress Essentials course is coming back. It is going to start September 18th, I decided. And actually, so that site is now live. You can go there right now and register. It'll be 3 Wednesdays in a row starting September 18th, just giving people plenty of notice. I may limit how many people this time. We'll see if that, I think I may. Anyway, I'm also offering a second offering, like a special here, where it's early bird registration, but also you can... if you can't make the webinars, you don't want the live interaction, Q&A time with me, or the sandbox, which I provide everybody, you can get the recordings only. So there'll be 2 options there for you. There's the whole class, all the resources, and access to me and Q&A and live. And there's also just the recordings only if you want to save a little bit of money if you don't have the time to be there the whole time. So there's that. That's over at wpe.kitchensinkwp.com. So check that out. Link in the show notes as well. All right, moving on. Segment 1 in the news. Some big news this last week. A couple things to talk about. Automattic acquired Tumblr, and Brian Krosgar did a live Q&A session with Matt. The thing that came out of that was they're going to move the infrastructure off of Verizon over to WordPress, of course. They're going to support the same APIs, both wp.com, WordPress.com, and Tumblr. They're going to switch the back end to WordPress, and they're going to open source Tumblr using the client similar to what we used to know as Calypso. Pretty cool. Also in the news last week was Automattic acquired Zero BS CRM. It was a project started by Mike Stott and Woody Hayday. And rumor has it it'll be rebranded as Jetpack CRM. And per Matt's tweet, ZBS CRM is joining Automattic. Small and a cool plugin. And as always, your content, your data belongs to you. So you'll be able to connect to Salesforce, HubSpot, Constant Contact, et al., etc., stuff like that. So pretty cool. I had never heard of ZBS CRM when I was looking at CRMs. I'm a fan and I use Pipedrive. Maybe I'll take a look at it because it might save me some money. So check that out. And lastly, in the news, Jeff Chandler from WPTavern posted and shared that he is no longer contributing writer in the, he created WPTavern. It was acquired by Matt's investment arm, Audrey Capital, way back when. He is an amazing guy. We're friends. I met him WordCamp Dayton like 5-6 years ago, and he's stepping away. So he has a post there over at jeffc.me. There'll be a link in the show notes as well, his final goodbye to the tavern. So he's been an instrumental part of the WordPress news community, and he will be missed. And maybe I'll try to get him on the show and talk to him about that, his experience in the past 10 years and longer. So, all right. So that's it for in the news. And moving on to segment 2, Q&A. Yeah, this week's episode, it's a Q&A episode. It's been about 8 weeks. So is that right? Yeah, it has. Yeah. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8 weeks. So here we go. All right. I have 4 questions this time. So someone wrote in, who is this? This was Patty, I think, wrote in. I know you like to use BeaverBuilder, but is there a way to have BeaverBuilder modules not show to public after I hit accidentally publish? Meaning I want to change things and see things, but not have them always appear. So, well, yeah, and I think I know exactly what you mean here, Patty. This is interesting because this is when you accidentally hit like a publish in BeaverBuilder module, you can't unpublish that. And the workaround that I've always had in the past, because sometimes it's habit, we hit save and publish right away. Don't say save as draft. There's a way to do that in BeaverBuilder. So if I'm not mistaken, the way I would actually solve this in the past was I would go back in, duplicate the block or the module in question, work on it, delete the original one, and then save as draft. So that way it's not live on the live site. It's save and draft. You can see it when you're logged in kind of thing. So there's no way to unpublish. So what I do now, though, is I was actually just tweaking with this and talking about this with somebody else recently, is what I will do is actually I will do the layout of a site, have the blocks and the modules there, the rows and columns, whatnot, but I'll set them in advanced settings to only show to a logged in user. Period. So that way, if I hit publish by accident, they're not shown to the public at large. So again, what I do is I go to the advanced tab of that module. I click only show, visible only to logged in users. You can actually be more specific if you want with conditional logic. So you can only be showing to me as my username or to admins only. So that's one way to show as well, to kind of have it. So if you accidentally hit publish in a BeaverBuilder block, there's no real way to unpublish that block unless you duplicate it, delete it, save as draft. This is kind of gets around that that limitation there. So that's what I've been doing. Hope that helps, and I believe that actually answers your question. Okay, second question here. Number 2. This is sent in by Jen. Excuse me. Which membership plugin is most compatible with Gutenberg? Well, Jen, most compatible. So, interesting question. I am not a huge user currently of Gutenberg, so it's hard to kind of say exactly, but I did some research and asked a few people questions. And because we are currently building a membership site over at backupspeaker.com, we're using MemberPress, and I'm 99.9% sure that it's Gutenberg compatible. Whether or not we use it for that down the line, I'm going to say yes, we're going to use it. Absolutely. Probably by the end of this year. The site goes live in about 2 weeks, I believe, the MVP version. When we have the blog, I'm going to go ahead and I say this like reluctantly, but I'm going to dive all in and start blogging on that page, on that site using Gutenberg. I don't see it being a problem. I also asked my friend Kyle from my co-host over at Get Options podcast. He works over at Sandhills. Restrict Content Pro is also compatible. Now, to say fully is one thing. To say most compatible, those are the two we know about. RCP can be used and is often used as a membership plugin as well because it restricts content behind a wall of some sort. So those are two that I could solidly recommend. So check those out. Okay. Third question is from Craig. Hi there. How can I protect my site from hackers? With a scary face on his emoji there. So, Craig, it's kind of a wide topic and question. I've answered this in the past, I think. I'll mention it again. A couple of suggestions here. I always suggest using really good and strong passwords and unique passwords. Don't use the same password for multiple things. I'm a big fan of 1Password. So that way I just generate a 15 or 16 digit combination of letters and characters. And I use that. I don't know the password itself. I just copy paste those in. Also, you want to limit who has access to the site as an admin. The more admins you have, the more risk you have for people, getting in, I think. From hackers' perspective, there's just more. If someone gets in one of their passwords, as an admin, they have full rights to the whole site. And use a good host. Make sure good hosting is key. I get kind of flustered on this one. You want to use a good host. A bad host is going to bite you in the butt down the line, so use some good hosting. And lastly, have a regular backup process in place because eventually good passwords, good hosts, access, still, there's always the potential that you could get hacked somehow. If you do and you get malware infested, or some sort of that, or if the site goes down, having a backup procedure and off-site is ideal, and that's what you really want to do. I do, so all my sites use that as well. So there you go. Okay. And last question here. This one's sent in by Steven, a fan of the show. How do you handle SSL certificates on a WP multisite with domain mapping? So each unique URL has HTTPS enabled. Well, good question, Stephen. I've only dabbled in multisite, and I've done it locally many years ago, and I'm fairly confident. I remember the first time I did it, I locked myself out because of the whole super admin and rights, and I just totally locked myself out. How to wipe it clean, start over. Did it again, like twice in a row within like 10 minutes. I'm like, and then I came back to it and messed around with it. I haven't used multisite in many years since, just because it hasn't been a need for me. But with some local testing, which I did just for you, and I did a bit of Googling for you as well, I found out that Let's Encrypt offers a free SSL, obviously, which can be used for multi-site. So depending on your hosting environment, who your host is there, you should be able to set it up through the SSL wildcard feature that Let's Encrypt has implemented. So I think that'll actually help you. In the past, I think it was a lot harder to have it be one SSL to be shared kind of thing, but now you can actually have it be one using Let's Encrypt. And I know you're a fan of LE as well, so I think that will do what you want. If you need more help, I would say reach out to Let's Encrypt or your hosting company of choice that you're using to host this multi-site on there. So there you have it. 4 questions, 4 answers, and I think that's it. If you have any questions, you know what to do. We'll get to that in a second. So moving on, segment 3, tip and tool of the week. This week's tip and tool is a website called Huffduffer, Huffduffer. It helps you create your own podcast in a sense that if you want to listen to something locally, off your own computer, it's not a full podcast, you found some audio out there, and you want to listen to it on your mobile device, I use an iPhone. You can go to Huffduffer, create your own one-off podcast, one episode, so you can then subscribe to your own little feed and listen to it on the go. I've heard about this a long time ago, used it way back when, and it got reminded to me by my good friend Dustin. So he's using it recently to listen to something on his phone that's not streaming, using his bandwidth, etc. So huffduffer.com, check it out, so you can then download and listen to your MP3s on your own device. Okay, I think that is it. Is that it? Yeah, that's it this week. So if you have any questions, go ahead, send it in via email, adam@KitchensinkWP.com, or use that SpeakPipe function on the website. Again, SpeakPipe is a way for me to take your recordings and use them in the future shows. I'd love to have your voice on the show. You can become a Patreon, KitchensinkWP.com/Patreon. You can sponsor. There's a form on the website. Thanks so much for listening. Now go out and do some awesome things with WordPress. We'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye.